Today we have a prototype of Microvores the Drift. It is a solo player game. It take about 25 minutes and is for ages 13 and up. In this game, your goal is to defeat the boss microorganism twice using your microbe. And throughout the game, you're going to be moving your microbe among the drift cards. Each drift card has 3 different sections, so it gives you the option of 9 different spaces to move to. At the end of each of your phases, the drift cards are going to move down 1 and drift to a discard pile the first time around. And then during the second time around, they are going to be voided, therefore removed from the game. So your microbe starts on level 1. You can have a deck of 7 cards. Each time you pull a card, you get to pull 2, and you have a health of 5. So to begin our game, you're going to start your damage on 5 for your life, food at 0, and victory points at 0. Throughout the game, you're going to be earning food, which is your little microbe looking atoms. That is your food. And then the victory points are gained throughout the game. You can do that when you evolve, grow, subdivide, rest, and cannibalize. And those different features are on the bottom of your moat deck. Your moat deck starts out with 5 cards. So let's begin our game of Microvores the Drift. So we're going to pull our first 2 cards. We got Gather. Since we're level 1, we automatically get 1 food. We're going to encounter this space, and this space has food on it, so we're going to get another food. And Explore gives us 2 movements. So we're going to choose to move up 1, encounter this space, we gain another food. And then we can choose to either stay there, or we do have 1 more movement. So we're going to choose to move over 1. And this is a damage. So we're going to sustain 1 damage. Our health is now at 4. And then on the bottom of these cards, you have your special abilities. You may use 1 special ability per turn. So the Gather has a special ability of Evolve. When you evolve, it costs 3 food. You gain a victory point. And it's very beneficial whenever you land on the evolution spaces, which are at the top of each drift card. So we are not at the top of any drift cards, so we're actually going to ignore that ability this turn. And then on the Explore is the Cannibalize special ability, which is just voiding a card in your hand to gain 3 food, which we don't really need any food right now, and we don't want to void any of the cards in our hand at this point in the game. So we're going to go ahead and discard our cards and end our turn. We are going to drift the cards down 1, and we are going to drift with the card we are on and gain a new card. Now we're going to draw our next 2 cards. We have Fight or Flight that gives us the option to either heal, move, or we have a fight option on here. And then Hunt has the fight option since we're only at level 1. So we're going to go ahead and choose to move over 1. Since the beginning of the turn, this space is now refilled, so we can gain another food. And we don't have to defend ourselves yet. We'll get to that later, which comes in handy at the boss. Because to defeat the first boss, the level 1, you need to have 5 fight in order to defeat him and flip him over to get the level 2 boss. So for the special abilities on these cards, you have Subdivide, which is where it costs 5 food and you gain 3 victory points, and that is it. And then for the Fight or Flight, you have the special ability to Grow. So we're going to go ahead and use this special ability. So it is going to go ahead and cost us 4 food, so we're down to 0. We're going to gain a victory point, and we get to go from level 1 to level 2. Level 2 provides us with 8 cards in our deck. We can go up to 8 cards. We now get to draw 3 cards each turn and have a max health of 6. So that is the end of our turn. So we're going to go ahead and discard our cards. Everything moves 1. Since we only have 1 card left in our deck, we're going to shuffle. And we get to draw 3 cards because we're level 2. And we're going to follow the second line on our cards for level 2. So Hunt and Gather gives us 2 movement and a fight. Hunt gives us 2 fight. And Fight or Flight gives us the option to either heal 1 or move 2. So we're going to go ahead and choose to move over 1. And that gives us 3 food. So we're now up to 3 food. So that's 1 movement. We're going to go ahead and move down 1. That provided us with a food, but we also sustained a damage. But that's okay. So we're use the 2 movements on our Hunt and Gather. We're going to go ahead and choose the healing ability on our Fight or Flight. So we're going to heal ourselves 1. And now back up to 4 food. We can choose to grow, or we can choose to rest and heal ourselves 3 more damage. But to rest, you have to discard the top drift card. So since we're at a level 2 and we want to defeat the boss, we're just going to go ahead and spend our food. And we're going to go to level 3. Level 3 provides us with 10 cards in our deck. Max of 10 cards in our deck. We still just have 3 cards per turn, but we can have a max health of 9. And then when we take our next turn, we get to follow the level 3 icons. So we're going to go ahead and end our turn there. Discard our cards. And everything's going to drift 1. We're going to draw our hand of 3, which we only have 2. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle our deck. Since we're level 3, we get 3 movement on our Explorer. We get a food and the option to heal or fight 2. Since we've already encountered this space is now considered empty. Since we are starting our turn on it, it is now empty. We do not re-encounter it. We don't take new damage, and there's no food for us to harvest. But our Gather does give us a food to harvest, so we're going to go up 1 for that. We're going to go ahead and move up 1, gain 3 more food. So that puts us at 4. And we're going to move 1 more time, and that puts us on the evolution space. So since we have our Gather card back out, we are going to use the special ability of Evolution. Evolution costs 3 food. So we're going to go down to 1. You gain a victory point, and this card now goes into your discard pile, and it is now part of your hand. Your microbe stays right where it's at in the empty space. And we're going to end our turn there. So we're going to discard our cards. And now everything's going to drift. So this is actually going to drift right underneath where we are sitting. Everything's going to drift 1. And we're going to go ahead and draw our next hand. So since we only have 2, we're going to shuffle. We have the option to heal or 2 fights, 3 movement, and 3 fights here. So So we're just going to choose to move down 1. We sustain a damage and we go up 2 food. We're going to choose to go over 1. And on this space, we're going to encounter a enemy microbe. So if we have 3 attack, which we do, we gain a food and a victory point. If we did not have that and we had a move and a fight, we sustained 1 damage. And if we had nothing that matched, we sustained 2. But we did have 3 fight due to our hunt. So we gained a food and a victory point. We are going to go ahead and just spend our 4 food since we have our grow back out. Just spend it, and we are going to grow one last time to be level 4. And we're going to end our turn there. So now we get to draw 4 cards per hand. So everything's going to drift 1. We only have 3 cards, so we're going to go ahead and shuffle so that we can get that 4th card. And since we're at level 4, we can have a max deck size of 10, a max health of 10, and a hand size of 4. And now we get to use the very last row. And on this card, we get a movement, since it's now part of our hand. So we don't need any fight because this is now considered empty. We have movement, more movement, and a food, so we're going to go ahead and just gain that food. We are going to move down 1, gain a food. Move over 1, gain another food, and we're going to lose a damage, but that's okay. So that we have moved twice so far. We still technically have 4 left. 5 actually, but we don't have to use them all. But we're going to go ahead and move here. We get 2 more food. So that's 3 movement. We're going to move up 1. We do have 3 fight. So that allotted us 2 food. And another victory point. So we now have 4 victory points. We're going to move up 1. And we're going to go ahead and use our special ability to evolve. So we're going to go from 7 to 4 for our 3 food. Gain a victory point. And this now goes into our discard pile. And we're going to end our turn there. Going to shuffle our drift deck. Now all the cards are going to be shuffled, and then after they drift past the boss one last time, they are then going to be voided, and that'll be the signal for the end of the game. So everything is actually going to drift 1. So we actually had 2 open spaces this time. And we're going to draw 4 cards. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle our deck. We have Rest, Fight or Flight, Explore, and Hunt. So we're going to automatically go ahead and use our special ability to restore 3 damage. So we're just going to void the top card here. That can actually sit right underneath there. After this card passes, it's going to go to the bottom of the deck. And then things will start getting voided. So we're going to go from 2 up to 5 because Rest gives us 3 heal. Now we're going to go ahead and continue on with our turn. So we're going to move to the left 1, move down 1, gain a food. And we're going to go ahead and move left 1 more time. And we do have 3 fights, so we gain another food and another victory point. And we are just going to actually end our turn right there. So we're going to discard our cards. And now everything drifts. We ended up drifting on the boss. And we're going to gain our next 4 cards. All right. So we have a movement and a fight, movement and food, and 4 movement. So we did not defeat the boss, but we did have the 4 movements, so we're only going to sustain 1 damage. We now go to the very beginning of our pool, of our drift pool. And that'll be the end of our turn. Everything drifts. We're going to gain the 1 food. We're going to go ahead and move over 1. Take a damage, but get 2 more food. And here are our card options. We gained another food, so we're now at 10. So we're just going to go ahead and flip it. We have a plus 10 now, so it reminds us we have plus 10. We have lots of movement and lots of fight. But we're actually going to stay there because we want a second try at the boss. So everything gets drifted. All right. So here we have a movement and a fight, 1 movement, 4 movement, and 4 fight. To defeat this boss level, we need 5, so we do have 5. So we have defeated him. He gets flipped over, and we move to here. Since we defeated him, we gain 1 food and a victory point, and now we have our level 2 boss. We need 5 total fight to defeat him. So we're gonna go ahead and just discard our cards. Everything drifts. We have movement and or fight, movement and a food, and more movement. We have lots of movement this turn. We're going to go ahead and gain that 1 food. We're going to go ahead and move up 1. We do have... Oh, we actually don't have enough fight. But we do have a fight, and we can use our movement, so we only lose 1 damage. We don't have anything left to discard, so we can't grow. Or sorry, we can't rest. We're at our highest level, so we cannot grow. So we're going to just leave it at that. Discard our cards. And we ended up drifting. Go ahead and shuffle our deck. Because we do need more cards because we can draw 4. So we have our hunt. Now keep in mind we need 5 fight to defeat the second level boss. A movement, and a fight. And then a option of fight, to fight, or to movement. And we need 5 fights to defeat the level 2 boss. And we definitely have enough. We have 6 altogether. So we're going to gain 2 victory points and a food. And we have defeated the level 2 boss. And that is the end of the game. The game ends either when your Microvore dies completely, sustains enough damage where it dies completely, you have no more drift cards left, and you did not defeat the boss twice, or the game immediately ends when you defeat the boss twice. Now for end of game scoring, you have where you win, you defeated the boss twice, and then you get a bonus card for each card in the drift deck discard pile, which we had none this turn because these are all voided. So we didn't have any extra bonus points. So we are going to call it a win. We defeated our boss twice, and we ended up with 9 victory points in total. A total of just 2 life and 13 food altogether. So that is a prototype run through of the game Microvores The Drift. It is a fun little solo game to play. It's fairly simple, but definitely has some strategy and using your special ability, since you can only use 1 per turn, in a way that will benefit your Microvore and evolve it to properly defeat the boss. I definitely find it easier whenever you're at a higher level than 1 for sure, but being at a level 3 or 4 definitely is very beneficial to defeat the boss, considering the first boss you need a total of 4 for this level 1 boss and 5 for the level 2 boss to defeat them. And the further up on level, the further down on your card you get to use, so it's definitely beneficial at that point, because level 1 options are alright, but they're not the best in order to defeat the boss. So I like the game the way it is, with the way it plays. The mechanics are very nice. It's very simple to learn to play. It's very easy to clean up, put away. If 18 cards altogether, and that includes your point scoring cards. So it's a very small, easy to transport game. You can play it anywhere. So I like that. It's a very versatile game. So again, that is the prototype playthrough of Microvores The Drift.